Give a big round of applause for the godmother of the Hong Kong underground scene, Chris B.
It's a very nice introduction. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Okay. So, hi. Yeah. So I'm Chris. I was born in Hong Kong. My dad was English. My mum was Hong Kong Chinese. So I'm fluent in English and Cantonese. I always say Cantonese is my mother tongue, right? So, but I look very Western. So So I grew up here, and I loved music. And my dad was into like, no, he wasn't. My dad was into like the Platters and stuff, and my mother was into like Elvis, and they used to argue about all this stuff, right? And so I just grew up listening to all this music, and I realized when I was 10, yep, I want to be in a band. I'm going to be a performer. And then I started playing in bands in teens, and in the 90s, I was in rather a successful band in Hong Kong. It was called Sisters of Sharon. And we we played everywhere, Fringe Club, the Wanch, like Macau, like we even saved up for a whole year and went on tour to America, right? And the biggest highlight was playing in the same venue that Kurt Cobain had played in a few years earlier, right? So with that band I was in for 10 years, I kind of was the one who kind of contacted the venues, like contacted the newspaper, press release, and somebody else in the band would make posters. And I just thought that was the way a band worked. Everyone had a different role, and we'd work together. And then by our third album in 2001, and on to our 10th female drummer, because we're an all-girl band. It's really hard to find good drummers, or it was then. So we called it a day, and I was like, wow, I've done all this, like, okay. But previously, the year before, this guy, it was Earth, year 2000, Earth Day, like this big thing, like Y2K. Like, so this guy had said to me, hey, Chris, you're good at organizing gigs for the sisters. Can you come and do this lineup? We're doing this festival in, I think it was in Kowloon Park. I said, yeah, okay. So I kind of booked bands for it and helped him with it, and it happened. And then in 2001, he said, oh, Chris, that was really good. Can you do it again this year? I said, yeah, okay, all right. Like just doing it. And then he said something to me. He said to me after, he goes, Chris, you're really good at this. I said, oh, yeah, really? Okay, yeah, okay, it's just organizing some bands, So, and then, I got into other bands. And then in 2003, SARS came to Hong Kong. And SARS was really, really bad. I don't know if you were here then. It was because Hong Kong got it badly, and lots of people left. I didn't leave. I remember my band I was in then, Thinking Out Loud, we were playing the Fringe all the time because all these people had gone, so there was nobody to play. So I was like, okay. And then I got into a new band and stuff. But aside from that, there wasn't much work, right? I was working at that time in my mum's company doing exports, and they didn't want anything from Hong Kong. Nobody wanted anything from Hong Kong. So I thought, oh, what am I going to do with my spare time? So I decided to teach myself HTML and make websites, right? Because I thought, that's going to be useful. We're going to need a website for something at some point, right? And then in 2004, I forgot to time myself, but anyway, you'll give me, yeah.
I'll give you.
So 2004, I was in this new band called Flowers of Babylon. And the thing with all these bands I play mostly original music. So we write the songs, we compose the lyrics, we practice for hours, right? It's not like being in a cover band. And yeah, so I was in this new band called Flowers of Babylon. We were like, oh, we got 20 minutes set. What are we going to do? The Wanch and the Fringe Club, they don't let you play unless you can play the whole night. So and it turned out the guy whose band it was said, oh, my friend's girlfriend is the manager in Joe Bananas. I said, oh, okay, that's cool. The band in Joe Banana doesn't start till midnight. Okay, that's cool. And then we kind of talked about it, and he wanted to do something like Q Magazine, right? This was a magazine from the UK, which had a section where you'd go to a gig and then you'd review the band at the gig, right? So he said, I want to be like Q Magazine. I went, oh, I can do HTML. I can make the website, right? And then we brainstormed. We were like, let's call it The Underground. That sounds cool. Okay. So like we found a couple of other bands, and we called it the amazing name of Underground One was our first event, right? make them, and I do have the sticker. The logo was just like a Halloweenish underground thing, like. So we did it. We did that first show. Then we put the reviews, which were actually quite bad. On the website, and then we put it up, and then we did another one. And then, interestingly enough, like bands started to email us saying, "Hey, you're doing this new band showcase, Underground. We want to play." So it's like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, and at this point, we were doing them on Joe Bananas once a month, like between 8 and 11 p.m. on a Thursday night. And, I was just like, oh, okay. So we did several more, right? We would make the posters. I didn't do that's my weak point. I don't do posters or creative stuff. I don't do creative stuff, right? I just curate, organize, manage, everything else. And for the first 2-3 years, they were all free events. Like we just let any old band play, and some of them were really bad and some of them were really good. And I had this interesting experience. I was at Rocket, which was in Victoria Park. This was the precursor to Clock and Flap, although they will tell you not so. It was so, right? And this band was playing from Hong Kong. And I had an underground happening the next weekend. So I was like after the band played, I was like, oh no, here's a fly. This band you just watched, they're really good, right? Yeah, they played the underground last month, like, and that's what you did in 2005, right? You handed out flyers and talked to people. And this guy, I remember this guy, he is a Westerner. He said to me, "Where are they from?" Right, the band. I said, "Hong Kong." And he's like, and he's louder. "Where are they from?" And I'm like, "Hong Kong." And then he's like shouting at me, "Where are they from?" And I'm like, oh, I think the singer originally came from Singapore. And he went, Singaporean band, right? And he walks off. And I'm like, oh man, right? And it was one of those pivotal moments where I realized, no, Hong Kong bands are great. We have great musicians here, great bands, like why can't they see that? So I think that point was one of the turning points where I thought, I need to kind of think more seriously about the underground, which had kind of just been floating along, And then a friend of mine who does marketing sat me down. He said, "Chris, you have to charge." I went, "What? People would pay for indie music?" Right? Like I was like, he's like, "Yeah, you have to charge." He says, "Because you're going to run out of steam and you can't keep doing this for free and blah, 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 blah." And it took me a year before I took the plunge, and I think we had because we used to do underground in other people's venues. I've never had my own venue because I realized if I can just do a show there, I can focus on the quality of the bands rather than trying to sell the beer at the bar. I'm sorry, I love all these bars that we do events in. So we were at the Edge and we charged $40 and like people were paying and it was great though. People were trying to get in for free as well. It's like, it's only $40. But it was really good to realize, actually there is a place, a market for this. So I didn't, so I have a timeline. So I started the Underground in 2004. And then wasn't very serious for the first few years. Then got a little bit more serious, and more focused. So I think 2004. So in 2014, it was really wonderful. The Central Harbour Front gave us an opportunity to do, our 10th anniversary. So that's our biggest show. We had these local, some all over the place. So we did it to 3,000 people, and it was great. We had Supper Moment and Tonic. These when they first played the Underground, they were just little bands in Hong Kong, and now they're two of the most, the biggest bands in Hong Kong. Rubber Band played their first gig at the Underground before they were even called Rubber Band. So we've actually been able to give the bands a place to play and connect with people and grow fans. And this year was our 21st anniversary. This is from last year, this T-shirt. And we just had our 2-day festival at the Fringe Club earlier this month, not last week, 2 weeks ago. And it was really nice because several of the bands shared, in either English or Chinese, how the Underground is really nice. It's like, someone called me the bridge, which I'm like, okay. I am half Chinese, half English, and, we can connect these two audiences, but we connect anyone who makes original music. We've had all sorts of, as long as you live here and you make original music and it's good, then you can play the underground. Yeah, yeah. So that was the thing. So yeah. Wow. Okay. So and have there been obstacles? There've been tons of obstacles. The most important one was the COVID restrictions, right? That we had. But even during COVID, I managed to put on 8 events, like in those 3 years. Although one event, we actually postponed it till by the time I checked with the bands a year later, one band said, "I'm so sorry, Chris, I have to pull out. My wife got pregnant in that time and we've just had a kid." And I'm like, whoa, right? So it's, but yeah. So yeah. And well, what else can I say? Venues in Hong Kong, we don't have many venues in between like 500 to 800 capacity. Like we got lots of little ones and then really big ones at like Asia World and stuff. I mean, we've lost a lot of venues over the years. And I think some of it is COVID, but some of it is just because this is a really expensive city to rent. I hear the same things from people in like London and stuff. Like, so yeah, venues, yeah, sponsorship. I find I can get sponsors for things generally. I find I just have to do the events, like, or be in the process of doing it. Like in 2019, oh, we did a big one. I had this, it's quite a good story. So, sorry. So I created it in 2017, but then I didn't put it into action until 2019. And that was the year, you remember, we had a little bit of social unrest in Hong Kong. So my festival was called Mellow Yellow Music Festival. So at the end of 2018, I was pitching to a few sponsors, and at the beginning of 2019, FWD said they would sponsor it, which thank God they did, right? Because but yeah, by the time it happened in at the beginning of July, Mellow Yellow, I remember WhatsApping someone going, "Hey, check out my Mellow Yellow," and they WhatsApp back going, "I will have nothing to do with the color yellow." And I was like, "Oh no, this is a 60s thing, like it was an acoustic jazz folk kind of family-orientated festival." But that happens, right? Like, who would have thought? Like, I planned something for 2 years. It was going to be, because I had previously had mellow showcases and noticed people came for the whole night. They didn't come specifically for one band. So I thought, oh, let's have a mellow music festival. So yeah, and despite me asking FWD several more times, they have said no to more mellow yellow music festivals. So I think I'll have to think of a new theme. So yeah, I find just because I didn't know they were going to sponsor it, and I remember my husband saying to me, he's going, "What are you going to do? It costs this much." I was like, "Oh, it's okay. We just do it. The energy, like I'm sure something will happen." Like, and to me, it felt like out of the blue, suddenly get the email from FWD going, "Yes, we want to do the title sponsorship," and I'm like, "Oh my God!" Right? So, but I find it's because I'm doing the event. I find I won't get the sponsorship if I'm just talking about maybe I'll do this event, because I feel now, especially now, I've done hundreds of events. Like, I don't need to convince the sponsor too much that I can do it, because I can do it. Yeah, so I found that interesting. So sponsorship is just, if you can prove you've done it, I think it's easier to get a sponsor. That's what I think. It's the new concepts that, yeah. How long have I got?
7 more minutes.
Wow, that's a lot. Oh my God, I thought I would talk too much. Okay. So yeah, well, I guess, yeah, so okay, then I'll talk about the team. So everyone working on the underground is pretty much a volunteer or just someone very passionate about music. We have a page on our website with the team members, and it's like 21 years. I mean, it's a long time. That's the thing. Our website is different with all other promoters. We're like Q Magazine. We write reviews of all the bands after their performance. So we've got 21 years of content written by human beings. And it's a great way. Like, if you're like, oh, I want to check out this band, like Dear Jane, what did they like? You can read our website and say, oh, well, they were like that then, because they played a long time ago at the Underground, and a lot of bands have disbanded. So one of our reviewers and one of our team members who helped me with marketing, they met at the Underground, and they've got married and live in Canada now, right? So it's like, oh, like we're also love happens at the Underground. And so yeah, they're all passionate about it. I'm amazed at how, you know, like the reviewers, they watch the band, they don't get to mosh and dance and, you know, they're standing away there, right? And I'm like, I'm so in awe of them. And we have photographers, we have videographers, and like, and I have stopped doing HTML quite a while back because I can't do everything. And then because I had to learn JavaScript and PHP and stuff like that, and it all got a little bit complicated for for what I wanted to do. Yeah. Oh, and now, what am I doing now? I'm still in a band. I'm in a band that I call a new band, although this band has been together 3 years. We're called the Ferals. Yeah. And we play hard rock. And we do have a punk song. Nice. That's my favorite. We do have a punk song called Shocked, which was funny enough. We were going to play a festival in China in April this year, and we had to submit our lyrics. And I thought, oh yeah, that one, because that one's about women locked up and being raped, right? It's totally not. It's going to be banned. Yes, they banned that one, but they banned another song about want to be seen, want to be understood, want to be heard. I thought, oh my God, yeah. So that was really, yeah, that was interesting. So yeah, so I still play in bands. So in that way, it makes me different to other promoters too, because I know what musicians want. I know what they want when they get on stage. I know what they need. I know how to convince them to play a gig, right? It's yeah, and I think in the last 21 years, I've also learned what the sponsors want, so I can convince them there. And then the venues that we work with, I also have to convince them that I can bring people who will either consume food or drink or whatever, right? Or we profit share on the ticket sales. Oh gosh, yeah, ticketing is a whole new world, yeah. So yeah, I know a lot about ticketing too. And but yeah, so I'm going to keep the underground going. I hope if you get interested in what I've spoken about today, you come and see some of the local bands, because some of them are amazing. A lot of them have gone on to play Clockenflap. Yeah, it's I think we're like the grassroots sort of platform. Yeah. And yeah, and I don't really know what else to say. How are we doing the time?
Well, we can give her a big round of applause. Let's start at 8.
Thank you so much for listening, honestly. Thank you.
So you've been in the scene for decades now. What's your favorite anecdote? Maybe from your own band, from another band, from organizing something? What is like the craziest thing you've seen, or something funny? Like, what is a good anecdote from those?
God, I thought I shared that with the guy who thought, who couldn't believe a Hong Kong bag would be so good, right? Yeah, that was a pivotal moment for me. But really, I don't know. I was like, really don't know. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Being in an all-girl band, the most embarrassing thing was once I was on stage and I pulled something, my effect pedal out my bag, and this tampon flew up in the air, kind of slowly fell down, and I was like, yeah, it's part of the act. So that was really embarrassing. Yeah. So.
Great. Are there any more questions? I'm sure there are.
So I have an observation and a question. So I think in Hong Kong, most people are required to learn instruments in primary school, secondary school. What do you think happens between that and adulthood, where they have like a smaller participation?
God, that's a really good question. Because we do see sometimes at the bands they've obviously had classical training, right? And because they can play the violin or the piano really well. But I think it's still, I think they're really lucky. I wish I'd been forced to play an instrument. Because I taught myself guitar, right? But I think if they decide they have a love of music when they're an adult, I think it really, really helps them to write and compose music. Yeah. There is, I would say about 20% of the musicians I work with have had that, where they didn't really like it when they were growing up, but now they were grateful when they're grown up. So I don't know, how things change as we grow.
So we know that one of the strategies that Hong Kong government has to make Hong Kong great again is to have concerts, right? Incoming. So are you planning to do anything around that? And also secondarily, I'd like to hear what you think about a whole following from China now that they can come across the border from Shenzhen for day trips or for concerts.
I mean, yeah, the first thing, like I'm not very good with applying for government things. That's where I'm weak at, but I'm meeting someone who apparently he's a local musician, but he's really good at, you know, writing grants or whatever. So I'm going to meet him early next month to talk about this, because he was saying to me, Chris, you've done so much, you really should be doing more in the Greater Bay Area, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. Because yeah, I'm willing to work with anyone who can help, you know, push Hong Kong bands further. And the other side is, I think it's quite interesting. You know, like I say, here we have no live houses, not enough live houses. Like, you know, my friends tell me they go to Shenzhen, and it's like, and they send me these clips, right? These venues are amazing, yeah. And I'm like, oh, yeah. But we don't have a red note or anything, but we're planning on it. We've had a few influencers from China come to our events and share about it because they find the underground quite interesting, right? Because they didn't know Hong Kong has this bunch of indie bands that play, you know, like it's awareness. I think it's cool, actually. Yeah, I think I was most surprised at I was working at Imagine Dragons, and that was the same time as Clockenflap last year. And I would say 90% of the audience were from mainland China. Yeah, I don't think it would have affected Clockenflap's attendance. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, good questions.
It's pretty easy. What's your favorite venue? What's your favorite venue?
Ooh, well, it's got to be the Wanch, right? It moved. It reopened 3 years ago. In its current place, it's on the first floor, and it's 4,000 square feet, and the stage and the lights and the sound is really good. It's really good place for bands to get experience of like a live house. Yeah, so it is my favorite place. Yeah, yeah, I do love the Fringe Club as well, for like, because what we did with the festival at the Fringe was we had the dairy bar, then I brought in a stage and sound and lights for the middle theatre, and then we had food and beverage, like, so it was kind of like this whole ground floor of like music and food and drink, you know, like, yeah. But yeah, I'm like, now you're favorite. Like, if they're listening to me now, also like Wave Music Studio in Kwun Tong. Yeah, I've just remembered it's videoed. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
How has your music taste and preferences evolved over the years?
Ooh, that's a really good question. It has definitely evolved. I'm actually a visual person. That's why I do live, so I can watch the music and feel it. And I've fallen in love with death metal in the last 2 years. Like, I don't listen to it. Oh, we're being recorded. I don't listen to it, but I love it live. Like, you're standing there, and these guys are like, you know, they're playing 12-string guitars, right? And the bass is thundering, and the drums are really intricate. And I'm standing there thinking, oh my God, I am alive. I'm so alive, right? So I find that music really, wow, yeah, live. But then I still love all the other stuff. But if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have said, oh, not death metal. No. so it has changed. And I think as I see how creative and how amazing these musicians are, I fall in love with it. I think, yeah, I get more and more impressed by it, yeah.
I'm curious, is there something that's still on your vision board that hasn't happened yet for underground, but you would like to see it happen in Hong Kong?
Yes, I'd like to do a ticketed outdoor festival. Ticketed outdoor festival. I've done, the Mellow Yellow was free. I'm looking at doing a 2-day festival this August for free, but I'd like to do a ticketed one just to push myself a bit further and be really scared by it. Yeah, I'd like to do that. Yeah.
And the follow-up question, how can we help?
Like what?
Buy tickets.
Posters, yeah. Tell your friends about it.
Okay, we'll do that.
Hi, Christine. So, wanted to understand a bit more about sponsoring.
you mentioned that you were doing this gig, you're planning doing it, FWD just popped out randomly and just say, I want to.
Well, no, I pitched them.
Oh.
No, I pitched them going, hey, we're doing this mellow yellow music festival. It's family orientated. It's mellow music. We're going to do it at the Central Harbour Front. We're going to have kids playground. We're going to have this, like, and here's my track record of all these. But at that point, I'd only done one big event, but not similar, right? So I had pitched to them, and I had pitched to a few others, and they were the only ones to come back and go, yeah, okay. But it was like they got the email, then they said, can we do a phone call? I got really excited. Okay, did a phone call, and they asked questions that I didn't really understand, and I just answered them to the best of my ability, and then heard nothing. So I just thought, oh, well. And then I carried on. I didn't worry about it because I thought, well, something will happen. It might seem stupid, but it also is like the more we talk and make it happen, and bands start talking about it, then the energy and the proof that we're doing something happens. So yeah, so I did email them and have one phone call, but then it was radio silence for 2 or 3 months. So I didn't think that, but that has happened to me quite a few times since, where nothing, and you think, oh, okay, I'll just leave it. That sponsor's gone, and then they'll come back out of the blue and go, okay. We're doing it. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so, yeah.
They just had, they needed time to get to their senses.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's all that energy, the intent, and I don't know. Sometimes I think they look and go, oh, we should do more local music. Oh, wasn't there this? Oh, there's this thing. Let's do it, right? Yeah. So I think they get something from their boss. And yeah.
We got time for one more question.
Thank you, Chris. I get this idea that through your life and career, people meet you and you're unlike anyone they've ever met. So I'm curious, what are some of your favorite reactions or misperceptions of you that you've heard?
I think the common misconception is that I'm Western and that I don't speak Cantonese, and like I don't, it's easier now with the apps and everything, but I don't know how many times I said on a phone in Cantonese to someone, okay, we'll meet here, Admiralty, I've got whatever color hair I had at that time, I've got this hair and I look like a white person, right? And they'll go, yeah, and then we turn up and they're looking and they look past me, they look over me, and I'm like, hang on, and they'll be like, oh! And they'll be like, oh my God, they'll be like, oh my God, you really do look like a Westerner. And I'm like, yeah, okay, and yeah, okay, I did tell you, so that's funny and frustrating at the same time. But I think I'm actually more Chinese. Like I'm quite, traditional in my thinking, and everything. So I think people are surprised by that. Even now, I think someone at the festival 2 weeks ago, some Chinese guy tried to kiss me, he's a musician, he was drunk, he's trying to kiss me, and I was just like, oh God. And some of the other people went, oh, that's so un-Western, Chris, apparently. And I was like, what do you mean? Do you mean Western women would let him kiss you, right? What does that mean, right? So, so I'm always exploring, because I really grew up here. I haven't really lived outside of Hong Kong more than 6 months, when I was a teenager. So I'm very grounded in being a Hong Kong person. So yeah, I don't know. Is that the sort of question you wanted, sorry? Yeah. I didn't know we had questions and answers, I was like, wow. I was like, but thank you for your interest, everyone. Yeah.
Well, doce. Big round of applause for Christy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Wow. Did you make that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very iconic photo of you.
Yes. If you look up Crispy and Underground.
So I wanted to try this black and white version, but of course I had to keep the hair in.
Oh my God, that's so nice. Wow, that's really nice. Yeah.
1, 2, 3.